so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Today's guest is Katherine Lazaruk. Katherine is a seasoned executive coach and image consultant with a rich background in performance, education, and corporate training. Since forming her company, she has empowered professionals to elevate their presence and leadership impact through customized programs and dynamic coaching. Renowned for her holistic approach, Katherine integrates practical expertise in color, design, and personality with deep insight into authentic self-expression, helping clients embody confidence and align their image with their inner values. Outside of work, Katherine enjoys singing, writing poetry, and sharing food and film with her husband and close-knit Vancouver community. Let me just say, this episode is for anyone seeking to embrace their authentic self and boost their confidence through intentional style choices. Whether you're a professional wanting to elevate your presence, a creative exploring new ways to express individuality, or someone on a personal growth journey, this episode offers practical wisdom and inspiration. If you've ever wondered how your wardrobe can support your goals, reflect your personality, or help you feel more at home in your own skin, you'll find valuable insights here. Keep listening to discover how image can be a transformative tool for self-expression and empowerment. This conversation is truly for everyone ready to unlock their best self. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Earrings Off. Today we have with us Katherine Lazaruk. Katherine, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. My earrings are off. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So we're going to just jump right on in. What is whole person, whole presence, and why is that important?
Woof. Okay, you're bringing it right from the start. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so I've been in the image consulting and executive coaching world for more than 15 years now. And one of the biggest problems that I see is that people are overly compartmentalized. So they're very different at home than they are at work. And whenever I see that happening, I say, you know what, you're lying to yourself somewhere. And now, because our world is changing and we're moving from this model of hierarchical, authoritative, and compartmentalized to integrated, relational, and whole, we're starting to see people say, I really want to bring my whole self to work. I want to show up in my life as my whole self. And I don't think that you can be whole without being wholly present. Present anywhere unless you're really there. I think it's important to focus on yourself as a whole person, and it's important to be wholly present because we're here. How else are you going to experience life and experience reward in your work and experience the joy of being embodied if you're not whole? So get to it.
Yeah, we say that though, Katherine, but is the world ready? I mean, for people and even what does that mean anyway, right? Bringing your whole self. I mean, you do that in an executive? I'm talking as an executive.
Okay, so we have to pause and talk about the real world conditions that exist, right?
Okay.
So real, racism is real, ageism is real, ableism is real, right? We have a lot of cultural things that impede us or can impede us or make it unsafe for us to share fully. So when I'm coaching executive of all different stripes who come to me because they're tired of trying to fit into the same old boxes, we talk a lot about, is your company a safe place?
That is so good. Yeah.
right? Do they encourage people to come
Mm-hmm.
to work as their whole selves? Because what you'll see companies go, oh yeah, we want you to
Yeah.
bring your whole self to work. And then you
Right.
show up as your whole self and they're like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
not like that.
Yeah. Right.
That's you're dressed too wildly. You're too loud. You're too much. And I know that maybe you or and somebody in your listening world has been told that they are too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how it works is you have to gauge your level of comfort. So I have a framework that I work with people, and I call it my 3 C's framework. And it is, the first piece is character, because it's my personal belief that whatever container you arrived on the planet in is the perfect container to do whatever you're meant to do on the planet. So the sooner you can make friends with your container, the easier your life is going to roll.
Mm-hmm.
But your character is who you are, right? Who you are at 4 is who you are at 104. At the heart of you, you don't change much over your lifetime. You might have things layered on you. You might have layered things on you, but ultimately who you are doesn't change. So learning about your character is extremely important, because you cannot express yourself fully if you don't know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
First stage. So we got to understand your character. Then we need to look at congruence. And what I mean by that is, how closely does your character fit into the environment that you are in? So you can be congruent with your industry. You can be congruent with your company. You can be congruent with your geography. For example, I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I love it here. It's super casual. It's super natural. The air is free, and everybody's really laid back. So I really enjoy that. Whereas other people really get off on a more type A vibe.
Yeah.
They want to be in New York, right? They want to be dressed all the time. So you really need to take a look at where you're at, because if you don't fit, then you have 2 choices. You can either conform so that you fit in, and some people really like to conform, right? They find safety in that, and that's good. Or you can choose to challenge, and then you need to choose the degree of challenge you want to take, right?
Yeah.
So you have to evaluate the congruence. And then the last element of the 3 C's is choice. You always have a choice about how much you want to turn the volume up on how authentic you're being, and how much you want to turn the volume down. Like, you're the same piece of equipment no matter what, but we all have volume switches, right? So in places where you need to be seen more visibility, where it's safer, yeah, you can let it hang out a bit more. You can wear that colorful outfit to the office as an executive. You can, if you're in an industry that encourages creativity. So if you're in magazine publishing, or you're marketing or something like that, you have more latitude. If you are in law, maybe a little bit less, but not everywhere. Because I heard you say earlier, like, is the world ready? And I really believe that the world is in a big shift right now. And the beauty of this is that it's us, right? No one's coming to save us. As far as I'm concerned, the second coming is us. It's coming through us. Like, it's a quiet tide, but it's every single person who chooses to regulate themselves. It's every person who chooses to be kinder to others and to themselves. It's every person who finds work that fills their soul, or uses their work to fill their life. It's every person who improves their relationship skills. It's every person who goes to help somebody else. It's someone who holds the door open for somebody else. Someone who brings somebody a basket if they're standing in the grocery line with 18 things in their arms and struggling, is it. So all of us together create our culture. We create our world. So the beautiful thing is, I think the world is getting ready, and it's likely to get a whole lot worse before it gets better, because that's how change works. But everything is coming to the surface now. So I think the world is ready. And I think every one of us who says, I'm ready, is the more important choice. I'm ready to make this world a better world. And I'm willing to do what it takes to get there.
Katherine, you've often said image only matters where it matters. What does that mean?
Well, after all the things that I just said about image, it really only matters where it matters. So, for example, in the places where it matters, it really matters. Let's say you're working in client acquisition. You're working in like investment, like high investment capital. Displays of status matter in those areas. So if you're carrying the Gucci bag, or you're wearing the Ferragamo shoes, or you've got the latest Prada dress on, those markers matter because it helps people identify whether or not you belong there or you don't. And personal choice is at play here, right? Some people won't subscribe to that, and that's totally fine. But the truth is, the data is that we are meaning-making machines. Everyone you meet is making meaning about who you are. So it's your job, as far as I'm concerned, to make the message accurate. And there are places where it's going to matter more. Like it's going to matter in an interview. If you're trying to get a job and you want to look a certain way to get that job, then it matters. Where it doesn't matter is, are you on the couch with your boo watching TV? Nobody cares. If you're on the beach having a vacation with your family, wear the bikini. Nobody cares about your cellulite. Nobody cares about your belly. And you know what? If they do, that's on them. Enjoy your life. Take the pictures. Wear the swimsuit. It's good to have sun on your skin. Wear the glittery pants. Like, enjoy. And if you end up being one of the people of Walmart on that channel that is so mean, I can't even stand it, so what? Image only matters where it matters.
Okay.
So a real life situation. I was on an interview panel interviewing a young lady, and she literally was sitting on the couch with her boo.
Okay. Image matters, right?
She killed the interview. I mean,
Yeah.
she was really good.
Right.
But my colleagues didn't want to hire her because they felt that was inappropriate for
Right.
her to be. But I'm like, what if she's in a small place and there was nowhere for him to go? You don't know the circumstance. You can't judge her by that. But yeah, she literally, I mean, she actually told us that was her guy. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a real life situation.
No, the
She
interview.
did
Okay.
not get the job, and I was sad about it.
Right. And I deeply sympathize with the don't judge a book by its cover. I would love to be out of a job, frankly, if we could get there. And we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And so I hear what you're saying, and I hear this a lot with younger people, talking to older executives and so on. Yes, it's very important to be aware of your bias and listen to what the person is saying. Listen to who they are and what they are doing as opposed to what you see. So you have to work a little bit harder to do that. To me, making sure that you look a little bit more like what people expect is kind, because then you're being a better communicator. You're helping them understand you better. And if, in fact, you're on the couch with your boo and there's no place for him to go, simply saying that at the front, saying, look, I recognize this is a really unusual situation. However, here's our situation. This is why this is happening. And I apologize. I assure you that it wouldn't happen in a professional setting, but here we are. I didn't want to put you off. Here's my situation. So you could do an explainer, but the other people still have to work hard, and not everybody is willing to look past their bias.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
So true. Yeah.
So keeping with that, what's the biggest challenge your clients face?
Oh, there's so many challenges. So many. I think it depends on, I have quite a wide range of clients. So I think the biggest challenge for, let's say, my more experienced executives right now is taking off the corporate mask. Because compartmentalizing has worked for them for so long, because putting on their corporate armor, putting on the suit, putting on the mask, putting on the professional face, and not being very personal at the office has worked for them. And they've built this, they have a bit of a lack of trust of the other people around them, and they don't want to be vulnerable, and they don't want to be seen as weak, and they don't want to be seen as indecisive. It's very, very challenging for them to take one little step towards being more personal and being a little more vulnerable without getting slammed for it, or without feeling so out of their depth that they can't cope. Because so many of the other generations in the workplace right now are looking for leaders to connect with them as people. Like, it's like, oh, I want to know my leader as a person. I want to know that they also struggle. I want to know that they have my back, and I want to know that they have more experience, but I also want them to be able to admit when they don't know something. I think that's the biggest challenge for my more experienced executives. And I think for my younger clients, whether they're entrepreneurs or they're in the corporate space, I think the biggest challenge is eliminating their own bias against experience and expertise, because there's been a large, we have a pretty pronounced bias towards individualism in our North American culture. My experience is valid, my feelings are valid, my thinking is valid. All of those things are true. And yet I see a lot of younger people not pausing to listen to the voice of reason or listen to the people that are more experienced in their workplace. Now, that's a double-edged sword because sometimes people that are experienced in the workplace are like, this is the way we've always done it, which is one of my least favorite phrases in the entire world. But I do see people jumping in, getting ahead of themselves, and then getting in trouble, and then not being able to ask for help. So I think a little bit of grounding and regulating and slowing down would be really helpful for my younger clients, particularly because they tend to be prone to perfectionism and prone to anxiety. And so I spend a lot of time just telling them to calm down. Yeah. You're fine. You don't need to work so hard. You don't need to prove yourself so hard. It's this slowing down piece, I think, that's really important. Get ahead of yourself if you're a younger person.
Katherine, what are some of the common pitfalls of professional presence consulting?
You mean like as a consultant?
Yes. As the person going through the professional presence.
So if a client is going through developing their professional presence, I think one of the common pitfalls is thinking that you have to do it a certain way, that there is only one right way to be present and to be professional. And that is simply not true. It used to be more true. Like there used to be more.
Yeah, because that's what we're taught. Yeah.
Right. Because we have to, the whole world is designed for and by men. Because that is the system that we're currently in. We live in a patriarchal system. And the way men are designed, they are designed like their hormonal cycle is like a 24-hour cycle. So their energy is the same time, it's the same all the time. Every 24-hour cycle, it's the same. So women get a bad rap because they are seen as unpredictable, but women are incredibly predictable over a 28-day cycle. And women's energy varies like from 1 week to another based on what phase of their cycle they're in. And there are certain tasks that are going to be easier for women to do at different phases of their cycle. For example, at the ovulation phase, women are great at networking. They're better at sales calls. They have more energy for that. In the luteal phase, where everything is really pissing them off, that is a great time to take note of all the things that need to be changed. And then when they go into the menstrual phase, when they're resting and reflecting, that's a great time to ask the question, okay, how do I change this thing? And wait for the answer, right? I think this idea that it has to be done only one way has been conditioned into us by this system that made sense when we lived in an industrial age and all the bolts had to be in the same holes the same way every time, very masculine. And now that it's starting to shift and people are starting to see the value of balanced leadership, where you have masculine traits and feminine traits working together, people are starting to shift that and starting to think about different ways to do things and questioning what is professional. So I think that's a big pitfall, is just thinking there's only one right way. And I think another big pitfall is comparing yourself to another person and wanting to be more like that instead of turning inward. So it's really like looking outward for validation, but looking inward to source that and to work with your own intuition and work with your own sovereignty, really, like your own self-governance, to look for that validation. Because, no one is ever going to know you as well as you know you. It's never going to happen. So when you're looking at identifying and defining and living into your professional presence, it has to come from within. So you can, in the congruence piece, you can look at the external world and then you decide how much do I want to match this. But ultimately, it's you. Like it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So those are two. Let me think of the third one that's a really common one.
Those are good ones, though, Katherine. I mean, they really are when you think about that. Yeah.
That's really common. Yeah, if I think of another one, I'll let you know just off the top of my head. Those two cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, they do. That's good. They do. But it sounds a little bit like with image consulting that there's a bit of confidence building. Am I hearing that within the individual?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I just had a conversation, or just sort of following a thread on LinkedIn about this, the confidence thing or visibility myths. And I think the interesting thing about confidence is it is impossible to have it if you've never done the thing you want to do. Impossible. Can't have confidence because you've never done it. But what you do need is a certain sense of self-efficacy, where it's like, I'm capable, I'm willing to believe I'm capable, or I am capable of trying this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at your professional presence and building confidence, you're going to have the courage to try new things. And some things you're just going to know. And some things you might need a safe place to validate them. So even though I said the bit about not looking outside for validation, sometimes we need mirrors to actually show us what's really great about ourselves, because everybody tends to default to knowing what's bad about themselves. That's an easy place to go. But when it comes to looking at what are my best qualities, right? What can I choose to develop?
Well, I tell you though, Teresa was dead on with her observation about confidence, because when I read some reviews on your website,
Mhm.
that's what people who've gone through
Yeah.
your development have said. I saw that repeatedly, was that
Yeah.
they gained confidence from
They do.
working with you.
I
Yeah.
think I think it's because I'm very, very good at seeing what's amazing about you and helping you see it yourself, and then helping you embody it. Because once you start looking at your image, like it's image is surface, but it isn't superficial. Right? Your image, whatever shows up externally, needs to be a deep reflection of who you are as an individual. And it needs to be energetically embodied. Like for me, I think that dressing the body is a devotional act. Can be
Say
a,
more about that.
a practice of devotion. So
Yeah.
when you are getting dressed and when you are using your clothing to communicate to the world something about you, or using your clothing to own something about you that's true, the act of putting on a sock and being present to that moment, like you're feeling your foot go into the sock, and then you're feeling your foot go into the other sock, and then you're putting on your pants, and then you've put on your underwear already. Then
Mm-hmm.
you're putting on your pants, and you're putting on a jacket that feels amazing, or a shirt that feels amazing, or something that really feels good against your skin, or really looks fantastic for who you are. And then you are walking out the door with your head held high, knowing that you have just set it and forget it. You're not fidgeting. You are showing who you are. You're wearing colors that work for you. You're wearing styles that work for you. And you're wearing things that express your being. That is a sacred act right there.
Mm-hmm.
That is walking out into the world and saying, here is my soul. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Wow.
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we need more people to be who they are. And image is a deep and can be a deep part of that.
So is part of it teaching someone to know
Oh yeah.
that about themselves?
Yes, absolutely. So there are practical skill pieces to this
Mm-hmm.
work. Absolutely. So there's practical pieces about what colors look really great on you, what
Mm-hmm.
styles are really great, what elements of design belong to you. Like, for example, do you have curvy lines or do you have straighter lines? If you have curvy lines, curvy things are going to look great on you. Soft things, things that move. If you have really straight angular lines, then straight angular things like really stiff cottons or stiff suits are going to be great for you, right? There are absolutely practical things that are dictated by your container, for sure. And then there's those like elements, color, body. And then the other internal element is personality. So who are you as a person? Are you a more creative person? Are you a more dramatic person? Are you a more classic person? Are you a more expressive person? Are you a more reserved person? Like, who are you? Is your personality? And those are all pieces that are kind of inherent in you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's assessments that I use to help people draw those things out. And then we want to look at the sort of external things, like what is your lifestyle, right? I was working with a CEO mom who had to go from the boardroom to the soccer field in a short amount of time and still be appropriate, right? So what kinds of things? I mean, are you the kind of person who is going to like do the sniff test on your clothes? You're like, I wore this yesterday. Can I wear? Are you the kind of person that's like, I only wear my clothes once and that's it? Or I never dry clean my clothes, or I always dry clean my clothes, or whatever. So are you a parent? Are you a child-free person? Are you a person who has mobility issues? Does that affect how you get dressed?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's all these different lifestyle factors that go into determining kind of how your wardrobe is going to work for you and your image is going to work for you. And then you look at your industry, right? What's your world like? Like I said earlier, right? What are all the other factors that you have to consider? And then you need to integrate all that and go find it. So there are definitely practical pieces we need to cover, practical steps to take. And there's also the spiritual component, right? What do you deeply desire from your closet? What do you want your clothing to do for you? How do you want it to support you and the work that you're doing in the world? What kind of message do you want to send to people about who you are? And how exposed do you want to feel? Some people use their clothing like a shield, and that's totally valid. But it's looking into all of these sort of psychological, spiritual, kind of metaphysical components about the energy of your clothing and the energy of you in it. And it makes a big difference when everything is aligned. People can tell.
Catherine, those are all of the questions we have for you
Okay.
today. You've certainly shed a lot of light on this, and we appreciate that. Do you have anything you'd like to share with our audience in closing?
In closing, I would like to tell all of your beautiful listeners that you are entirely worthy of wearing clothing that expresses who you are 100% of the time. And it might take some time to find those things, and it might take some knowledge to find those things, but you can find them. And if you want to, you will. And I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and start that journey. And if you have any questions about that, I actually host a totally free Ask Me Anything session at noon
Okay.
Pacific. I'm doing it every Wednesday through the month of June. And you can
Okay.
find me on Instagram, Katherine Lazaruk. You can find me on LinkedIn, Katherine Lazaruk. And I would be happy to invite you to those sessions if you have questions. And you can also find my book, which is on Amazon. It's called Executive Being, Humanizing Business One Leader at a Time.
Again, Catherine, thank you so much for joining us here today at Earrings Off. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Take good care.
You too.